It's always Gold FM for us at Golden Point, Raki Raki.
Gold FM is #1 in Lusaka.
Gold FM is Nandi's best radio station.
It's always Gold FM with us here in Singapore.
Old is gold and Gold FM is #1 here in Lusaka.
Singapore loves classic hits on Gold FM.
Listen to Gold FM here in Tagua.
We love Gold FM in Ba.
We've got beautiful beaches, people, and Gold FM in Raki Raki.
Lusaka loves the classic hits on Gold FM.
Gold FM, only the classic hits.
Tonight, man counts his lucky stars after being attacked in the streets of Suva. FICAC marks Anti-Corruption Day with a difference. And experts say communities must be involved in the fight against climate change. Good evening, I'm Jackie Spate and this is FBC News. A 26-year-old man is cut and bruised but relieved to be alive after a violent assault and robbery by a group of youths in the heart of Suva early yesterday morning. Police have confirmed this is not an isolated incident, as they've had similar reports in recent days. Vosito Kotewasawasa reports.
What was supposed to have been a night out with friends almost ended in tragedy for this man who doesn't want his identity revealed. The only thing he remembers is that he just walked out of McDonald's restaurant at about 3 a.m. yesterday.
So I got out there to catch a cab. About 15 to 16 people, they just came running and they attacked me from the back.
This is the spot where the attack took place. The man took heavy blows to his body. The last thing he remembers is waking up at the back of a police van. The ordeal has left him shaken.
It was a really scary experience. Actually, what I would like to request is if there's a police presence at night in town. Hardly there wasn't anyone around.
Police spokesperson Anane Soro says this isn't the first report they've received where people have been attacked by a large group.
An area that we're trying to improve our visibility. And this will be a focus area during our operational festive period, which begins tomorrow. We'll be pushing out men from headquarters. Those who are not needed in other duties, they will be pushed out to the front line. What we really want to be doing is to ensure that visibility is at its maximum level.
She adds that the increasing reports of assault are a worry.
There is a no-drop policy directive out on all assault cases, and this is the course of action that we'll have to take.
Police are advising people not to carry large sums of money or wear expensive jewelry when heading out at night. Vosita Kotiwasawasa, FBC News.
The rental freeze order on all residential and ground properties expires at the end of the month. The Commerce Commission will make a submission to the government this week to have amendments to the order. Chanel Sivan reports.
The rental freeze order was approved by the Minister for Commerce, Ayat Syed Kayum, early this year. Under this order, landlords are bound by law not to increase the rent for the properties they own for the entire year. Commerce Commission Chair Dr. Mahendra Reddy says they have identified certain changes that need to be made to the rent freeze.
This has been an issue that we have been grappling with. One of the problems that we have encountered with respect to the current rent freeze order that we have is there have been instances where landlords have made capital investment on the property, and but with the rent freeze order they are not able to make any changes to the rent. So taking that into consideration, the Commission will now be making a submission this week to the Minister to have a price control order on rents.
Reddy says the Commission is in constant dialogue with the landlords who are unhappy with the inability to make good on their investments.
There are other aspects within the order that we will examine when landlords make submissions. So should that get approved by the Minister, then we will make those, take into account those investment that landlords are making, so that that is reflected in the rent and therefore providing them with a correct return on investment.
The current freeze order expires at the end of the month.
Constantly we are in liaison with landlords because this is an issue that they have raised. And we do find merit in that. So based on that we have made amendments to our submission that we are making to the Minister.
Under the current conditions, landlords can only increase rent if tenants have moved out and property has been renovated. Chanel Shivan, FBC News.
International Anti-Corruption Day was marked throughout the country today. This year, the Fiji Independent Commission Against Corruption used a different approach to raise awareness on anti-corruption. Ritika Pratap reports.
An outside broadcast was organized by the Fiji Independent Commission Against Corruption throughout the country for the first time to help people better understand what corruption is.
We decided to create a little bit more visibility through the execution of a media campaign. We kick-started with a few published articles and ads, and then we went on talkback shows, and it has been very helpful because we have seen an increased number of complaints received through our toll-free line in the last month or so.
Since the establishment of FICAC in 2007, there has been a steady increase in the complaints against corruption. There has been over 500 public sector-related corruption complaints so far.
Talking about bribery, and then second would be collusion, and I think third on the list is abuse of office. Again, it involves public sector corruption.
FICAC has successfully investigated and convicted many of these cases.
Over 60 people that we've convicted and a little over 50 cases. In terms of prosecution, I've lost count, but hundreds, and there's thousands more that are still awaiting trials.
Most cases are reported from the Central Division. Ritika Pratap, FBC News.
A Tonga national has been given an 18-month sentence without conviction for trying to bribe a customs officer and being in possession of illegal arms and ammunition. Sonny Blake pleaded guilty to the charges in the Nandi Magistrates Court. When he arrived at Nandi International Airport last week, the 29-year-old from the United States tried to bribe a customs officer by offering him $40 to not search his luggage. He then tried to run away but was caught trying to leave in a taxi. In his possession, he had 2 Colt automatic caliber guns, 1 pistol, a shotgun, 5,000 plastic ammunition and 6,000 zinc-plated ammunition. He has been fined $1,000 and ordered to pay within 30 days. Coming up, singer Sumit Tapu arrives in Fiji to promote his latest album.
Today FM is #1 here in Singapore.
We love Today FM in Lambasa. It rocks!
My favorite station in Nandi is Today FM.
I love Today FM because they play the awesome song.
Loto kasi they love today's kid music.
I love Today FM because they play all my songs.
We love Today FM at Vuniva Lambasa. Yeah, it rocks!
I love Today FM because it rocks.
Today's hit music on Today FM.
Bulan 2 sa Batolo FM, and naban 2 ay Raki-Raki.
Bula FM, naban 2 in Nosor.
Go etabo ke boto ko sa Bula FM nga.
Bula FM, naban 2 ay Corvo.
Bula FM, naban 2 ay Sawa. Bula FM, naban 2 ay Lotoka. Bula!
Naban 2 ng Bula FM member.
Bula FM, #2 NSR in Singapore.
Hotel talita kada warung ng Bula FM Lotoka.
Ali akar warung Bula FM naban 2 NSR.
Bula FM, naban 2 NSR.
Welcome back. This is FBC News. The Fiji Women's Crisis Center claims Fiji hasn't improved much in eliminating violence against women. The center launched its national survey exploring the prevalence, incidence and attitudes to intimate partner violence in Fiji this morning. The report shows that violence against women is still high in Fiji. Shireen Lata has more.
The report claims that 72% of women in Fiji face some sort of violence in their lives. Rates of emotional, physical and sexual violence against women by husband and partners are high in rural areas than in urban areas. However, most cases go unreported.
Perhaps are seeing only about, 10% of people who are actually undergoing violence and sexual violence. Sexual violence is a lot lower, the reporting. We have seen an increase over the years, definitely.
Over 55% of women who were interviewed believe it's important for a man to show his wife or partner that he is the boss. Ali says the last report in 1997 showed that 66% of women were going through violence. According to the center, increase in violence reports could be the result of counseling services provided to women.
Ours is very, very sound, and I would say the best in the country, because we are specifically trained on gender-based violence. But of course, we need many more places where women can get access.
About 3,538 women were surveyed by the Fiji Women's Crisis Center field offices between 2011 to 2012. The women who were interviewed were between 18 to 64 years old, and the report was compiled by Dr. Juliet Hunt, an independent consultant.
What we do need is prevention strategies. We have to start looking at, how do we prevent this from increasing? How do we bring the numbers down? How do we change the attitudes? That is what is a lot more important.
Incidentally, police are investigating 3 domestic violence cases reported over the weekend. 3 women were allegedly assaulted by their husbands, and police spokesperson Ananesoro says there is a no-drop policy on all domestic violence cases. Sharin Lata, FBC News.
Locals should take the lead role in addressing climate change and sustainable development in our region. A regional conference at the University of the South Pacific was told that most of the time people just rely too much on aid and assistance.
With climate change mitigation and sustainable development mostly dependent on overseas aid, locals have been urged to step up.
The local communities are vital, rather than thinking this is a kind of global problem right up there at the atmosphere level. All of these issues are grassroots level, and so people shouldn't wait for someone else to come along with money to help them figure out what to do.
The two issues are linked in the Pacific and have adverse effects on the lives of the people in the entire region.
Well, climate change and sustainable development both are pressing and very real issues in the Pacific, of course, and the linkages are obvious. All the advances that there might be in sustainable development can be wiped out by a tsunami or by a cyclone.
Participants urge more community involvement in addressing climate change and the sustainable development of the people.
Most of the funding that are trickling down to communities are not relatively not that much. For us, we have about able to have about $40,000 to $50,000 per community. So that's very, very little when it comes to addressing climate change. So in that regard, either we push for donors to increase the level of funding, or make sure you get as much support from outside.
The weeks-long conference is held at the USP. Epeli Tuguasa, FBC News.
Fiji-born Mumbai-based singer Sumit Tapu is now taking a step further in Bollywood music. Tapu is commonly known for doing semi-classical works like bhajans and ghazals. The singer, who has been flying the Fijian flag in many countries, says promoting Fiji in Bollywood is exciting. He is hopeful his fans will enjoy the complete change of genre.
I'm singing for Bollywood films now, for movies. So I've just recorded a few songs for films which will be released in 2014, 2015.
Meanwhile, Destiny, Tapu's latest album, was launched recently by Indian cinema icon and megastar Amitabh Bachchan. Seen in India as the biggest album of 2013, Destiny features Sumit Tapu with the 3 legendary singers, Pankaj Udas, Anup Jalota and Talat Aziz. And we turn to sports, and here's Jamie with the latest.
Good evening. Coming up, Fiji wins plate final in South Africa and now find themselves pooled with New Zealand in the USA Sevens. Also after the break, Fiji eyed to host International Basketball Championships. Stay with us for the details.
देश की धड़कन रेडियो फीजी 2 is number 1 in Singapore का।
मैं लंबासा के निवासी, मेरा नाम प्रेम चंद्रा है। देश की धड़कन रेडियो फीजी 2 को मेरा सलाम।
नैनी में देश की धड़कन रेडियो फीजी 2।
रेडियो फीजी 2 में देश की धड़कन मुझे बहुत अच्छा लगता है।
रेडियो फीजी 2 is number 1 in Singapore।
नैनी में मेरा धड़कन है रेडियो फीजी 2।
हम नन्नूपुर की रहता है और हम रेडियो फीजी 2 हरदम सुनता है।
हमें रेडियो फीजी 2 सुनो बहुत अच्छा लगे। आप भी रेडियो फीजी 2 सुनो।
देश की धड़कन रेडियो फीजी 2।
Talita na radio Fiji One na mwira ni nonda bonua.
Ando talita kana borrongo na radio Fiji One singa toka mbole ni station ni Alumatu.
Ando talita kabale una borrongo na radio Fiji One station ni Alumatu ilo toka.
Ando talita kabale una borrongo na radio Fiji One mandi na station ni Alumatu.
Au tulgo korbo. Ando borrongo lebe na station ni Alumatu na radio Fiji One. Ando borrongo na radio Fiji One na station ni Alumatu na mando tele.
Na radio Fiji One nando moi bitin bonga ni BNN.
Welcome back to FBC Sports. The Fiji Sevens side had to settle for the plate after being ousted 28-12 by Samoa in the Cup quarterfinals of the South Africa Sevens. Fiji had only themselves to blame for errors and individual play that handed extra possession to Samoa. They went on to wallop Kenya 52-5 in the plate semi-final before beating France 45-19. Fiji will now be placed in Pool B of the USA Sevens with New Zealand, Australia and Scotland. Meanwhile, South Africa beat New Zealand 17-14 in the Cup final. The results of the weekend see New Zealand still in the lead on the IRB7 series with 58 points. South Africa is placed second with 56, while Fiji lies third with 48 points. And fans at home had high expectations for the team following the Dubai tournament. Here's what Fijians on the street had to say after the performance over the weekend.
We watched the game at Dubai and we watched the game in South Africa now. And well, don't write them off, right? Don't write them off. There's a few areas to be ironed with them, and we can always tell where do they get the strength that they use in Dubai and what happened now in South Africa. I think there's a few areas, yeah.
Okay, very good. I love the way they play. But I think they should work on the way to defense.
The game was okay. I mean, the play is sad, but there was some faults with the game against someone. But then, better luck next time. They can't always win at every tournament.
I reckon it was really good. They really picked up the sevens team, and just want to thank Ben Ryan for his effort and discipline.
Fiji is being eyed to host the International Basketball Federation Oceania Under-19 Championship next year. Officials have been able to get a good measure of what can be done to improve our chances in future tournaments. Talendau Dakadaka reports.
The FIBA Oceania board has tipped Fiji as the most likely host for the Under-19 Championships next year. The decision was made following the Oceania Pacific Championships in New Zealand, where our men's and women's teams finished in 6th and 5th place, respectively. A reasonable effort considering that majority of the players made their debut in the international arena.
Our goals were to finish in the top 3. There's a lot of lessons learned from the tournament, and hopefully the results will help us in our programs for next year.
The inclusion of junior reps in the side was a tactical move, providing exposure at regional competition.
Tiana Kainamoli, who's a 15-year-old student at St. Joseph's Secondary School, had an outstanding, played really well during the event. And also Peter Gus, Form 6 student at Lautoka Central College. He had an amazing tournament, and he was also, after the tournament, he was also named as the best 5 players of the event out of all the 8 countries.
The Oceania Under-19 Championships is scheduled to be held in June. Chalendo Dakavak, FBC Sports.
The 8 teams for the final rounds of the Chris Science National Club Championship have been confirmed. Civic, North Pole, League Navua, United 1 and Combined FC have made it from the Southern Division. Defending champs 4R Electrical, Blues Nandi and FC Education make up the Western contingent. Fiji FA competition manager Amitesh Pal says all teams in the top 8 have equal chance of claiming the title. The final round of the competition will be played at Prince Charles Park in Nandi this weekend. Cricket Fiji is on a mission to get better facilities to help the sport grow. Administrators believe this is one area that is key for development of the sport. Shelvin Chand has more.
For sport to grow, there has to be facilities available. Cricket Fiji is well aware of this and is now taking steps to make it a reality.
The fact that to do development you need the facilities. So this year alone, in 6 months, we as you can see behind you, there has been rolled out, taken to new facilities.
Cricket Fiji's ambitions to have a dedicated pitch is still very much alive. A piece of land in Vatuanga is currently under negotiation.
We are the oldest sport in Fiji. We've got matches dating back before the deed of session, and I guess it's just hard work and making sure that everything falls into place in accordance to our strategic plans.
2014 is going to be a very busy year for Cricket Fiji.
Setting up our structures to meet the 2014 together with the qualifiers at the end of the year, the preparations for the Pacific Games in 2015.
There is belief in the cricket fraternity that on the right path, Fiji can rub shoulders with the giants of the sport. Cricket Fiji believes it's on the right track. Shalvin Chand, FBC Sports.
That was your Monday Night Sports. It's back to Jackie now with business.
A leading supplier of fresh juice, freshly cut fruits and vegetables from the United Arab Emirates will be in the country this week to hold talks with relevant authorities about potential trade and investment opportunities here. Barakat Quality Plus Managing Director Michael Wunsch will be in the country to explore potential trade partners in the supply of fresh fruits and vegetables. On his visit to Fiji, Wunsch will also be meeting with other exporting companies engaged in processing fresh tuna and poultry products. In a briefing with Robin Nair, Fiji's ambassador to UAE, Wunsch added that fresh pineapples and coconut supply will also be on his agenda. Any trade between the two countries will take advantage of the inter-airline agreement that now exists between the Emirates Airline and Fiji's national carrier Fiji Airways. And Genevieve's here with Monday's weather. How's it looking?
Lots and lots of rain today, Jackie. Highly appropriate, I think, after our Sevens loss last night. The western side did have sunshine this morning before the skies gave way to afternoon thunderstorms. Look at the clouds on the sides. Now, the capital was quite chilly today on 27 degrees. We couldn't get a reading for Ba. However, the other four centers were a much warmer 32. More thunderstorms are expected in tomorrow's forecast, and there's no sunshine in sight. Suva, Savasavu and Lambasa will wake up to a very wet morning, while Nandi, Lautoka and Ba will experience a cloudy one. And there's that strong wind warning again, enforced this time for Lau Waters, Koro Sea, Vatuira and Kandavu Passage. Time to round things off now with this photo from Brittany, one of our regular contributors. Pinaka Brittany for thinking of us while you and your family were at the Jet Set Town's famous Wailoloa Beach. Now that sounds like a plan for Christmas.
Thanks so much for that, Genevieve. Recapping the top stories, a Suva man is counting his lucky stars after being attacked in the streets of Suva early yesterday morning. FICAC marks Anti-Corruption Day with outside broadcasts spreading the message to everyday Fijians. And experts at a regional conference say communities must be involved in the fight against climate change. Now on to results from last week's poll question. We asked, can Fiji win the 2013 and 2014 IRB World 7 Series? The answer was a definite yes, with 83% voting in favor of the team. This week's question we're asking, is the festive season heavily commercialized? To answer, visit our FBC website. Remember, you can send us newsworthy pictures and videos on email citizenseyes@fbc.com.fj or share it with us via our Facebook page, FBC News. And if you're on Twitter, follow and tweet us your tips at FBC News or simply hashtag FBC News. That's news for today. Till tomorrow, good evening.
टावर में it's only मिर्ची FM. मिर्ची FM is hot.
ताकि हर घर में खाली मिर्ची FM बजे. मिर्ची FM is hot.
Best sound, best music, Mirchi FM rocks and record.
नानी का number 1 station है मिर्ची FM. मिर्ची FM is hot. मिर्ची FM is number 1 in nursery.
मिर्ची FM is hot. हम लोग मिर्ची FM रोज सुनता है. मिर्ची FM जागो मामा. मिर्ची FM